Liking this class, feel free to donate to me at Venmo at Alyssa-Kubitz. And all right, so let's get started in a comfortable seated position. So you can be in cross-legged or rock pose, or with your legs straight out in front of you. And we're gonna bring our hands into a mudra. So pointer finger, middle finger, thumbs touching. With your palms face up. Go ahead and close your eyes and start to bring your weight back towards your sits bones. And take a full inhale through your nose, letting your belly expand. Holding at the top of that breath. And exhaling out your mouth. Pausing at the bottom of that exhale. And again, slow, full inhale. Holding at the top. And exhaling out your mouth. And one more time. And then returning to an easy belly breath. Breathing in and out through your nose. And start to imagine your bones heavy. Start to imagine the pull of gravity on your body, pulling you down towards the center of the earth. And on an exhale, just let go of your day, your thoughts, any busyness. And on your next inhale, just kind of breathe back towards your body and your breath. And now I'd like you to imagine a beam of light from overhead entering into the crown of your head. And this light is the highest vibration, the purest energy. And just allow that to start to filter into your body, through every cell, all the way down to the tips of your toes. Allowing it to cleanse, clear, and revitalize. Take a couple more breaths, let that energy really soak in. From your bones all the way out to the edges of your skin. And now imagine that beam of light kind of going down your spine and continuing out your tailbone. And when it goes out your tailbone, it's just going to start to create roots, creating that grounding cord. And these roots can be Coke can size or trash can size, however thick you need them to help you really ground into the earth. Start to let them go through the floor, through the building you're in, into the earth, through rocks and water and caves, as far down as they can go. And then once they've gone as far as they can, imagine them wrapping around something solid. So it could be rocks, a crystal, or imagining the center of the earth, that liquid magma core. Wrap those cords around that solid center. And then come back to your body and your breath, feeling that connection from above and below. And on an inhale, just set the intention to kind of make a little ball in your center of anything you don't need anymore, anything that doesn't serve you for your highest good and harm to none. On the exhale, allow that ball to just kind of drop out of you, out through that grounding cord, and let that energy be absorbed by the earth and recycled. On your next inhale, make another ball of anything you've picked up that doesn't belong to you, anything you don't need. On the exhale, letting it go down that grounding cord into the earth, setting the intention to allow that energy to be recycled and renewed. One more time. Anything from a past life that you don't need anymore, and just letting that go. And just asking yourself now that we're clear, grounded, what it is that you need in this moment, and what you would like to cultivate through your practice today. Once you've set that intention, go ahead and bring your palms together, thumbs to your heart. Take another inhale. Exhale, bring your arms out wide. Inhale, reach up. Hook your thumbs together, arch back. Little back bend here. Inhale, stretch up towards the ceiling. And exhale, let your arms float all the way back down. Lengthen your legs down your mat. And shake them out a little bit. Let the blood circulate down towards your toes. And so for our first restorative posture, you're going to want some props. So you could have a blanket, a pillow, or my favorite, a bolster. Just something to help support you. And then once you have that, you're going to have it behind your lower back. And then you're going to lean back over your support so that you're arching up and over. And so your hands can rest on your belly. They can come straight up overhead. You could bring them out to a T. If you're feeling that maybe this is too much of an arch, you could use another pillow or blanket underneath your head to support you. And then your legs, so you can keep your knees bent. You could bring the bottoms of your feet together and your knees out wide in butterfly. Or you could have your legs straight down your mat. So just take some time to get yourself situated, finding what feels the best for you in your practice today. Just helping open up through your chest, having a nice arch in your back, open through your shoulders. And grab another pillow here. And then I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes. We have plenty of time to just really sink into this posture and absorb all the benefits here. So once you're in your pose, go ahead and close your eyes. You can bring your hands back into that mudra if you find it helpful. It's said to kind of bring about a sense of calm, safety, and well-being. Now, coming into your breath and your body, as you open into this posture. For this first pose, let's just start to notice how our thoughts feel. So, not exactly what they are or what we're thinking about, but more what is it that, how do they feel? So, for me, I'm feeling a little bit more of a buzzing in between my eyebrows, just some busyness from my day, a little bit of fogginess. I'm feeling kind of more in the center of my mind. So just finding what's here for you, letting your breath be slow and steady, and then just watching if those sensations stay the same or if they shift. And with whatever thoughts or commentary comes up for you, noticing it, and then coming back to those sensations. And begin to deepen your breath. Start to wiggle your toes and fingers. And then start to press your way back up to seated. Do any movements you need. Me doing a little twist feels good here. And then next we're going to set up for our next posture. So going into a supported child's pose. So you're going to want your big toes to touch and bring your knees a little bit wider than hip width apart. Again, having some pillows or a blanket. I like to have my bolster a little bit upright. And then I'm going to read from, I believe it's the Power of Now, where we left off last week. All right. We'll start our timer for 5 minutes. So gently rounding forward. So kind of talking about inner voices and judgments. The voice comments, speculates, judges, compares, complains, likes, dislikes, and so on. The voice isn't necessarily relevant to the situation you find yourself in at the time. It may be reviving the recent or distant past, or rehearsing or imagining possible future situations. Here, it often imagines things going wrong and negative outcomes. This is called worry. Sometimes this soundtrack is accompanied by visual images or mental movies. Even if the voice is relevant to the situation at hand, it will interpret it in terms of the past. This is because the voice belongs to your conditioned mind, which is the result of all your past history, as well as of the collective cultural mindset you inherited. So you see and judge the present through the eyes of the past and get totally distorted view of it. It is not uncommon for the voice to be a person's own worst enemy. Many people live with a tormentor in their head that continuously attacks and punishes them and drains them of vital energy. It is the cause of untold misery and unhappiness, as well as of disease. The good news is that you can free yourself from your mind. This is the only true liberation. You can take the first step right now. Start listening to the voice in your head as often as you can. Pay particular attention to any repetitive thought patterns, those old gramophone records that have been playing in your head perhaps for many years. This is what I mean by watching the thinker, which is another way of saying listen to the voice in your head. Be there as the witnessing presence. When you listen to that voice, listen to it impartially. That is to say, do not judge. Do not judge or condemn what you hear, for doing so would mean that the same voice has come in again through the back door. You'll soon realize there is the voice, and here I am listening to it, watching it. This I am realization, this sense of your own presence, is not a thought. It arises from beyond the mind. So when you listen to a thought, you are aware not only of the thought, but also of yourself as the witness of the thought. A new dimension of consciousness has come in. As you listen to the thought, you feel a conscious presence, your deeper self, behind or underneath the thought, as it were. The thought then loses its power over you and quickly subsides because you are no longer energizing the mind through identification with it. This is the beginning of the end of involuntary and compulsive thinking. When a thought subsides, you experience a discontinuity in the mental stream, a gap of no mind. At first, the gaps will be short, a few seconds perhaps, but gradually they will become longer. When these gaps occur, you feel a certain stillness and peace inside you. This is the beginning of your natural state of felt oneness with being, which is usually obscured by the mind. With practice, the sense of stillness and peace will deepen. In fact, there is no end to its depth. And begin to deepen your breath and make your way up and out. Again, doing any movements you need. Next, you'll want to move your props off to the side. And you're going to lie flat on your back with your legs stretched out and your arms up and overhead. So your arms are going to come straight up over. And you're going to bring your feet together. And then we're going to make a bit of a C curve with the body. So your feet are going to come over to the right. And then you're going to bring your arms and your head and shoulders a little bit over to the right. So you're stretching through the left side of your body. Your palms can be together, or you can let one hand rest inside the other. I'm going to set our timer once more. We're going to do our best to come back to that stillness, back to our breath. And this time, focusing on what you're feeling emotionally. Again, where is it in your body? What sensations are there for you? Is it a heaviness or an openness in your chest? Do you feel a swirling in your belly? Or does it feel calm and easy? And just letting any information from the last passage to be absorbed for your highest good and harm to none. And then just letting it go and coming back to your practice. you ever start to feel any discomfort while in your posture, feel free to adjust or modify. So for me, I was feeling some tension in my left shoulder, so I'm just gonna go ahead and let that hand rest on my belly instead. And begin to deepen your breath and make your way up and out, and then back up to seated. And this time we're just going to go into a gentle forward fold. So I like to have a prop on my lap so I don't have to go all the way forward. I'm just getting a gentle stretch all through the back side of my body while still having it be restorative. So if you're stretching so far that you're starting to kind of tense up, maybe bring yourself a little bit further back up. All right, set the timer here. Okay, when a thought subsides, you experience a discontinuity in mental stream, a gap of no mind. At first, the gaps will be short, a few seconds perhaps, but gradually they will become longer. When these gaps occur, you feel a certain stillness and peace inside you. This is the beginning of your natural state of felt oneness with being, which is usually obscured by the mind. With practice, the sense of stillness and peace will deepen. In fact, there is no end to its depth. You will also feel a subtle emanation of joy arising from deep within, the joy of being. It is not like a trance-like state, not at all. There is no loss of consciousness here. The opposite is the case. If the price of peace were a lowering of your consciousness, and the price of stillness a lack of vitality and alertness, then they would not be worth having. In this state of inner connectedness, you are much more alert, more awake than in mind-identified state. You are fully present. It also raises the vibrational frequency of the energy field that gives life to the physical body. As you go more deeply into this realm of no mind, as it is sometimes called in the East, you realize the state of pure consciousness. In that state, you feel your own presence with such intensity and such joy that all thinking, all emotions, your physical body, as well as the whole external world, become relatively insignificant in comparison to it. And yet, this is not a selfish, but a selfless state. It takes you beyond what you previously thought of as yourself. That presence is essentially you, and at the same time, inconceivably greater than you. What I'm trying to convey here may sound paradoxical or even contradictory, but there's no other way that I can express it. Instead of watching the thinker, you can also create a gap in the mind stream simply by directing the focus of your attention into the now. Just become intensely conscious of the present moment. This is a deeply satisfying thing to do. In this way, you draw consciousness away from mind activity and create a gap of no mind in which you are highly alert and aware but not thinking. This is the essence of meditation. In your everyday life, you can practice this by taking any routine activity that normally is only a means to an end and giving it your fullest attention so that it becomes an end in itself. For example, every time you walk up and down the stairs in your house or place of work, take close attention to every step, every movement, even your breathing. Be totally present. Or when you wash your hands, pay attention to all the sense perceptions associated with the activity. The sound and feel of the water, the movement of your hands, the scent of the soap, and so on. Or when you get into your car, after you close the door, pause for a few seconds and observe the flow of your breath. Become aware of a silent but powerful sense of presence. There is one certain criterion by which you can measure your success in this practice: the degree of peace that you feel within. And begin to deepen your breath and make your way back up. And then onto your back once more so we can stretch to the right side. So legs extended, arms extended, and then bringing your feet together and over to the left, your hands together and over to the left. So let's practice with this posture that sense of kind of no mind, just being present with what's here and following your breath. Begin to deepen your breath. Make your way back to center, and then eventually back up to seated. And then next, we're going to go into either the choice of butterfly pose or straddle. So butterfly, you have the bottoms of your feet touching and your knees out wide, and then you just round forward, get a gentle stretch into the inner groin area. Or you can bring your heels out wide. Again, you're always welcome to use a prop to lean onto. And again, just a gentle stretch. I'll set the timer here, and then we'll continue where we left off. All right. So the single most vital step on your journey toward enlightenment is this. Learn to disidentify from your mind. Every time you create a gap in the stream of mind, the light of your consciousness grows stronger. One day you may catch yourself smiling at the voice in your head, as you would smile at the antics of a child. This means that you no longer take the content of your mind all that seriously, as your sense of self does not depend on it. Enlightenment rising above the thought. Isn't thinking essential in order to survive in this world? Your mind is an instrument, a tool. It is there to be used for a specific task, and when the task is completed, you lay it down. As it is, I would say, about 80 to 90% of most people's thinking is not only repetitive and useless, but because of its dysfunctional and often negative nature, much of it is also harmful. Observe your mind, and you will find this to be true. It causes a serious leakage of vital energy. This kind of compulsive thinking is actually an addiction. What characterizes an addiction? Quite simply this. You no longer feel that you have the choice to stop. It seems stronger than you. It also gives you a false sense of pleasure, pleasure that invariably turns into pain. Why should we be addicted to thinking? Because you are identified with it, which means that you derive your sense of self from the content and activity of your mind. Because you believe that you would cease to be if you stopped thinking. As you grow up, you form a mental image of who you are based on your personal and cultural conditioning. We may call this phantom self the ego. It consists of mind activity and can only be kept going through constant thinking. The term ego means different things to different people, but when I use it here, it means a false sense created by unconscious identification with the mind. To the ego, the present moment hardly exists. Only past and future are considered important. This total reversal of the truth accounts for the fact that in the ego mode, the mind is so dysfunctional. It is always concerned with keeping the past alive, because without it, who are you? It constantly projects itself into the future to ensure its continued survival and to seek some kind of release or fulfillment there. It says, one day, when this, that, or the other happens, I'm going to be okay, happy, at peace. Even when the ego seems to be concerned with the present, it is not the present that it sees. It misperceives it completely. because it looks at it through the eyes of the past, or it reduces the present to a means to an end that always lies in the mind projected future. Observe your mind and you'll see that this is how it works. The present moment holds the key to the liberation, but you cannot find the present moment as long as you are your mind. I don't want to lose my ability to analyze and discriminate. I wouldn't mind learning to think more clearly in a more focused way, but I don't want to lose my mind. The gift of thought is the most precious thing we have. Without it, we would just be another species of animal. The predominance of mind is no more than a stage in the evolution of consciousness. Oops. At a time, we'll pause there. So start to make your way back up. And whether you're in butterfly pose or straddle, go ahead and bring your hands back behind you, your feet onto your floor, and then windshield wiper your knees back and forth. And then make your way back to seated with your legs straight out in front of you. And then bringing your prop back behind you lengthwise this time. We're going to lean back similar to the first posture we did. And then again, you can bring your arms out. You can have your hands on your sides. You can have your knees bent or the bottoms of your feet together, out wide in butterfly. We'll set our timer here. And remember to take water whenever you need it. So, doing your best to come back into your breath, observing your thoughts without judgment, noticing if that is true for you. Does your mind automatically jump to the past or the future, disregarding this moment here? No need to blame or judge yourself, just noticing what's happening. Begin to deepen your breath and press your way back up. Moving your props up to the side and then make your way onto your back with your knees bent. Bring your arms out to a T. And then bring your hips a little bit over towards the right and let your knees fall to the left. And turn your chin to the right. Again, keep setting the intention to notice when your mind bounces to the future and the past. Noticing any commentary without judgment. And then just keep coming back to the present moment. And start to bring yourself back to center. I'm going to adjust into the other side. So hips to the left, knees to the right, and turn your chin to the left. And begin to deepen your breath and start to make your way back to center, do any movements you need, and then start to set yourself up for our final posture in Shavasana, corpse pose. So traditionally you're flat on your back, but you're welcome to use any props or blankets you'd like to help make you as comfortable as possible. Once you're situated in your posture, go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep inhale through your nose, let your belly rise. Holding at the top of that breath, and then slow exhale out your mouth. Let your body sink down into the earth. Easy belly breath. Staying in this moment. And we are at the end of our practice together, but I hope that you stay in your meditation for as long as you can. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Namaste.